Welcome to On the Way to School, your 6-minute daily boost for educators and administrators. I'm Christopher S. Dennis, and today, let's elevate our journey together. Good morning and happy Friday, party people. Here we are. Made it to the end of the week. A week that is, it's been eventful, to say the least. But I hope you are doing absolutely fantastic on this morning on the way to school. I think there's so many things that we could get into. I feel like I've gotten away from kind of, as a pastor or old preacher would say, I got away from the teaching. I got away from the word. I got away from the word the last couple episodes. So I want to get back into things that are actually just going to be helpful for you as educators, as administrators. And I'm going to lean on to a component of something that I'm working on in my doctoral studies. I'll be wrapping up next month. And one of the theories or frameworks that I'm using in my study on independent school board governance is a component of cultural wealth, community cultural wealth by Tara Yasso. And Yasso talks about 6 forms of cultural capital that are to be used in an asset perspective when just thinking about how we understand people, students of color, individuals from any marginalized group, essentially, to engage with their contributions to community. Okay, so community cultural wealth builds on 6 forms of capital: aspirational capital, linguistic capital, familial capital, social capital, navigational capital, and resistance capital. So, sorry. And I'll probably take a little time to really just walk through these. But here's why I want to talk to you all about community cultural wealth. In schools, especially independent schools, personhood is a really important concept. This membership of the community is important for us to be able to really grasp. And at times, at critical junctures, we fall into the questioning of, am I seen and am I valued? Were people really in my corner? And a couple of those points could be, for seniors toward graduation, when the admissions decisions come out, for students from marginalized backgrounds, once they, get into an amazing school, some people will assume that it's an affirmative action choice. Or when you are an administrator or a teacher and you get promoted, some people will say or assume it's because there's a cultural politic at play here. And I think those types of things are inevitable. It's like the drop off from sincere partnership and allyship that we have when these moments come up and people, throw these subtle jabs or sometimes these direct jabs at us. So what Yasso does in community cultural wealth is help highlight the types of capital that we bring to conversations, that we bring to schools, that we bring to environments that are assets. And if you think of community cultural wealth in contrast to monetary wealth or financial wealth, these 6 things are assets. And coming from marginalized backgrounds, we have value. We have value that we bring in different ways. So it's really helpful for us to understand how these things work. So first, aspirational capital. So aspirational capital refers to the ability to maintain hopes and dreams for the future, even in the face of real and perceived barriers. So this resiliency is evidence in those who allow themselves and their children to dream of possibilities beyond their present circumstances, often without the objective means to attain these goals. Okay, so this is, I hope we all can relate to this aspirational capital. That means you are moving forward through life and space with the aspirations of the future, the hopes, the dreams, regardless of the barriers that are there. Okay, it's the student that says, I'm going to be the first in my family to graduate. I'm going all these things that you're going to achieve. It's that aspiration. And those aspirations bring value to a conversation. They bring value to problem solving. They bring value to a space because there's just more there for somebody to pull from. Okay. So that's just one form of community cultural wealth when it's seen as a value add, somebody that is aspiring to do something. It doesn't take away people who are, fourth generation of something. But when we think about people from marginalized backgrounds and you wonder, what do they have to bring to the table? This aspirational capital is something that is truly productive and helpful. I'll try to squeeze one more in here. Linguistic capital. So this includes intellectual and social skills attained through communication and experiences in more than one language or style. So it reflects the idea that students of color arrive at school with multiple languages and communication skills. In addition, they have been engaged participants in storytelling and traditions and oral histories, etc., that are really rich and dynamic. Okay, so this linguistic capital also builds on things such as the slang and the dialect that people have in their home communities, right? So if someone from New Orleans comes to Los Angeles, they're going to bring a form of linguistic capital that is different yet enriches the community that they're coming into. Okay, so I think talking about community cultural wealth is especially timely at this moment because we want to make sure that we are able to understand how we bring assets to spaces. And it's important for us to have the tools of asset-based framework in our own dynamics, in our own vocabulary, because if we don't, no one is going to provide. Okay, so again, check out Yasso's Community Cultural Wealth. We've only covered two of the forms of cultural capital, aspirational and linguistic. So maybe next week we'll jump into the other four. But I hope this gives you a little something to think about linguistically, aspirationally on the way to school. Happy Friday, folks. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on the way to school. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep making a difference. I'm Christopher S. Dennis. See you tomorrow.